Hi, this week on the Varrow Method, we are looking at the Mandalorian and Grogu and some tips and ideas of what could make the movie a bigger success. Now, a quick high-level overview of the film. Mandalorian and Grogu is a story about the two bounty hunters, Mando and Grogu, who are trying to recover information about Imperial warlords for the New Republic, and they have to go out to some planet to rescue Jabba's son so they can win favor with the Hutt cartel, who will then give them information on where to find the outstanding Imperial warlords. So that's pretty much it. Looks great. It's low stakes, safe film. I give it a B minus, 4 to 5 stars. So sure, something to watch, but I wouldn't really push and shove out of my way to go see it. Now, a few things about this movie that some of my other colleagues out in YouTube land have brought up. I concur that timing was one of the biggest issues in this movie. And by that, I don't mean so much of the length of the film, I mean the time they released this movie. Now, Memorial Day weekend is a good weekend to release a Star Wars film. I mean, historically, Star Wars has always been a summer blockbuster. So for that, they had the right time. But this should have came out years ago. Mandalorian 1 and 2, the seasons were fantastic. They had people's attention. And that is exactly when they should have made this film and push it out. Definitely before the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, so, but also creativity, I have no other way to put it. I mean, the creative process here, that's also one of the problems with the film was, at the end of Mandalorian Season 2, Grogu left with Luke to begin Jedi training. So in a panic, the studio brought Grogu back with Mando, which was rushed in Book of Boba Fett. So, you know, from a creative point of view, yeah, why paint yourself in a corner like that if you want to make the franchise between Mando and Grogu? Then you just keep it that way. If you separate them, then they should have a passage of time. So when Grogu comes back, he's older and he can talk, ask questions, and have more agency versus still being a baby who can organize a haphazard rescue mission like in the movie. So, you know, that's another thing about that. A creative process, I do think it is lacking creativity. Yeah, this is going to be like the send-off for baby Grogu, and then we're going to have adolescent Grogu, which I can't see them doing. That will definitely take things in a fresh, new perspective. That would be the best way to do that, but I can't see that happening. So another thing is, of course, is the market segment. What exactly is Disney trying to do? Are they trying to just go after one fragment versus the whole wide audience? Because Star Wars used to appeal to a wide audience. So it didn't matter your background. None of that mattered. It's either you like Star Wars or you didn't. And that's all that mattered. If you're just trying to go after, let's say, the affluent, or you have one particular segment that you're chasing after in just that segment, then you better be damn sure that segment there has the resources to continue to fund your projects. Otherwise, you're leaving money on the table by ignoring everybody else. So I don't understand. Been watching movies for a couple of years now, and I've seen movies where, yes, they are targeting a specific audience, but then those kind of films have to be very low budget. They have to have a lot of room for profit and break even. And a movie of this caliber and this blockbuster, yeah, you can't do that. You can't ignore the casuals. You can't ignore the normies. You need to include them in there. And the time that they were available was before COVID. That was when the audience was at its peak, and that's when you should have launched the film franchise to capture that market, build that goodwill, and then the money would just keep coming in. At this point here, a lot of people, especially a lot of YouTubers, are so jaded by the content and the quality that, people just turn off. So why would somebody off the street want to spend their time and money on your product when historically you told them to either go away, this wasn't made for you, you're chasing after a particular market segment that may not actually be receptive to you or your product. So, it can't go both ways. It makes no sense trying to sell, for example, scuba gear to somebody who lives out there in Alaska, because chances are somebody in Alaska is not going to go scuba diving up there in the frozen water. But somebody that may be out here in Florida or California or so forth, where they have nice waters out there, may do that. So a lot of it really depends on exactly who you're trying to chase. So I don't know. That's just very clear for me right there, that it's just misguided, and they're just trying to appease people who really left the room a long time ago, so to speak. And the fact that we have, I noticed this guy, that Dave Filoni, he put himself in the film. Yeah, now it's real cute. He still had the cowboy hat. Sure. Might as well. Who knows? You ever get a chance to put yourself in another Star Wars film, so you might as well take a shot. I forgot the guy. They didn't even say his name. They just called him Filoni. It was Filoni Baloney. He was in the movie. He's there, the big old hat. I'm surprised he didn't put the hat and the X-wing. I'm pretty sure if he could, he would have put the big old hat inside the X-wing. Trying to fly around. But anyway, have this busting his chops. But at the same time, you got to take chances. That's what both casuals and hardcore Star Wars fans want. They want new content. They want you to take chances. And we're not talking about this, rewriting the entire narrative and we put it in our version of what Luke Skywalker should have been. We put it in our version of what Darth Vader should have been. Just create new stories, create new environments. Create new, something fresh. And you don't have to be a whole big budget affair. You can just take it like, if you really want to go old school, then have a small budget with creative, talented people who want to tell a good story. And I promise you, as a creator myself, yes, they can come up with some really good, imaginative ideas. Now, creative people are like engineers. Throw them a lot of money, they can come up with all kinds of stuff, but then, it can be a little too much. You kind of have to find that sweet point where they have enough to do the job, enough free room to be creative to get the job done, but not to the point where you're choking them where they can't do stuff. And creative people are the same way. I know, I'm the same way. So I really do think that's where they also missed the mark on that there. So kind of recap on this analysis here for the Mandalorian and Grogu of what worked, what didn't. What worked was brand recognition. It brought in some casuals like myself into the film. What didn't work is everything else. Timing, movie should have came out earlier. Creatively, there was no stakes. It's a fun little adventure film, but you can literally skip it and you're not going to miss anything in terms of character growth. You can just dive in at any point and they'll be just fine. Another thing is, of course, the audience. Exactly who are you trying to get to? Again, affluent, a particular market fragment, or you're trying to appeal to a wider audience. Because if you're trying to appeal to a wider audience, you miss the mark tremendously. And I'll close with this here. This will also encompass the creative process. And what Star Wars is missing is the experience. And I'll share a story from 1999. I remember when back then you couldn't get them. You had to literally go to the theater and get your tickets. And generally it's like 2 weeks in advance at most. So it was 2 weeks before the Phantom Menace came out, and I was the one chosen from my friends and family to go out and get the tickets. And I didn't mind. I had a day off when the tickets went on sale. So I spent the whole day out in line in the heat out in South Texas, and I was able to chat with so many people and find out that everybody from different walks of life, from working class to like white collar, people who, doctors and attorneys and whatnot, they were all out there for the same reason. We all wanted to see Star Wars. And for one day, we all got along and we were having a great time. And then, it was a magical experience. And even then, it was a buildup. So in that 2-week period, you had stuff that was out in the stores. You can find T-shirts and toys and the graphic novels, and there was video games. So they had everything there lined up for you to get excited about the experience. And then once the movie came out, more stuff came out, so you can take the experience home. So if you wanted to read the graphic novel or the novelization or play the video game adaptation of the movie, you can do that and still recreate that magic you felt when you saw the movie. Nobody was crying about spoilers because they didn't matter. I mean, even if you told everybody what happened, they still wanted to go see for themselves. So that is also what's missing. And it's not just in terms of this hardcore, merchandising and sales and all that. It's nice to have a souvenir once in a while, but it was the experience. You had that option. You can either go all in, or you can put yourself in a bubble and just wait until you see the film. And then, most people, you see it once, you're good to go. But if you're a fan, you want to be able to go back in there and touch that magic again and have those highs of watching your favorite set pieces and your characters. And that's what's been missing from pretty much everything that Disney's put out. Even though The Force Awakens, for example, had a crap ton of toys and stuff, but it wasn't the same. All 3 films, it just wasn't there. They were really just trying to push out the content and the merchandise for a higher end clientele. But even the affluent will only spend so much of the money on this. You really need to have a large audience, and that's what the Mandalorian Grogu did not reach. It wasn't a large audience. If I didn't know anything about Star Wars, I probably would not have seen this movie. Only because I know the brand and I like the original 6 films. And I had a curiosity. Sure, I went out, but will I take anybody else with me? No. I've asked people, and I got lucky. I was able to get a date to go with me to see Mandalorian Grogu, but she told me she didn't give us 2 shits about Star Wars. She just wanted to go in there and not know anything. She came out just fine. She enjoyed it, but there was no way she'll go back and see it again. So, and I'm not gonna press my luck either. So, I'll take the win as I get them. But anyway, to kind of recap, it had the market recognition, it had the brand recognition, but it did not have a clear, defined goal in terms of what audience they were trying to capture, what story they were trying to tell. They did not deliver an experience for people to get involved, and they did not create an environment to where you had to go see the movie and you wanted to go see it again. So for all those reasons, that's why, in my opinion, it did not hit the mark. And the last thing I'll put out there, the capstone of all this, if they're trying to, if they want to do a large audience, they want to capture that, then you got to go wide in distribution. If you're just trying to do the theatrical run and then we're going to funnel it down to your app, I promise you this, you're not going to get the numbers you're looking for. Because I, for one, I am not going to subscribe to Disney Plus just to watch The Mandalorian Grogu. It's not worth it. Watching all the other Star Wars content, I have no interest in. Obviously, they're probably not looking for me as a viewer anyway. So why bother going somewhere where you're not wanted? That's how I see it. So if they really want to bring back the brand, there's other things they can do, but we'll save that for another conversation. But looking back here, there was tremendous opportunity to make this into a worldwide phenomenon that will stay household. But for now, it really more is just a niche. And maybe aside from Baby Yoda, which is not as quite as iconic as Darth Vader. I do see more Darth Vader and Stormtrooper stuff out there in the wild than I do Baby Yoda stuff. Aside from my own collection here, again, I enjoyed the movie. There is still room for growth, but what leadership needs to do is they need to take that chance and realize that you can recapture the market share, but you're going to have to take risk. That's all we have for now. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.